They say women are impossible to understand. But what if I told you their deepest weaknesses aren't hidden at all, just overlooked? This video will reveal 5 powerful psychological triggers that most men never notice. We're not here to play games. We're here to master the inner dynamics that truly captivate. If you've ever felt like the nice guy who finishes last, this will flip your reality. Watch closely, because once you see what's behind the mask, you'll never see attraction the same way again. Number 1. Imagine this. She has everything: beauty, intelligence, independence. She's built emotional walls higher than most men even dare to climb. Yet deep inside, beneath that composed exterior, is a silent craving, the need for emotional escapism, a yearning not for perfection, but for a feeling. Most men try to impress her with success or stability, thinking logic is the key to attraction. But logic doesn't move her. Emotion does. What she truly craves isn't a checklist of achievements. It's the man who can make her feel again. She doesn't daydream about accountants or engineers. She fantasizes about the mysterious stranger, the storm she can't predict, the fire that doesn't ask permission to burn. Why? Because the modern world has numbed her. Predictable men, predictable texts, predictable dates. It's all too safe. And safety isn't the same as attraction. When life becomes a flat line of routine, she subconsciously longs for contrast, for the man who can break the rhythm, stir something, shake her free from autopilot. Stoicism teaches us to control ourselves, not others. But paradoxically, a man who masters himself often influences the emotional world of others. By embracing unpredictability and emotional presence, you become an experience, not just another option. You make her feel alive, not because you're reckless, but because you're real. She can't control you, and that tension, that contrast makes you unforgettable. So don't be the nice guy who texts good morning every day like it's on schedule. Don't be the echo who agrees with everything she says. Be the storm in her calm, the unexpected moment in her perfectly organized life. Tell a story that pulls her in. Make her question where she stands. Not to confuse her, but to wake her up. And when you do, when she feels that surge of excitement, that tug between comfort and curiosity, she'll come back, not because you asked, but because her soul demands it. In a world of men trying to be safe, be the one who dares to stir her. She doesn't want to be impressed. She wants to be moved. Number 2, she'll never say it out loud, but she wants you to say no. Yes, you read that right. In a world where men bend, fold, and sacrifice themselves just to keep a woman interested, the man who holds his ground becomes unforgettable. Because here's the raw truth most men never learn. The moment you abandon your boundaries to gain her approval, you lose both her respect and her desire. And without respect, love becomes impossible. Most guys think being agreeable, always available, always saying yes, is the way to a woman's heart. But it's not affection she feels when you surrender yourself. It's quiet disappointment. Why? Because when you show her that your self-worth depends on her reaction, you no longer appear as a man. You become a mirror. And no woman falls in love with her own reflection. Women are biologically wired to test men. Sometimes it's subtle. She cancels plans last minute. Sometimes it's direct. She challenges your opinions just to see if you'll fold. But she's not trying to hurt you. She's searching for something solid. She's trying to see if you have a spine. Because if your world collapses the moment she disagrees, what strength can you offer her when life throws real chaos your way? This is where Stoicism comes in. The Stoic man doesn't react to every emotional gust of wind. He chooses principles over approval. He sets boundaries not to punish, but to protect his time, his purpose, and his peace. And when a woman senses that you will not trade your dignity for affection, something primal happens. She stops testing and starts respecting. You don't need to argue. You don't need to explain. Just calmly enforce your boundaries. Don't chase when she pulls away. Don't change your tone to appease her moods. Lead the interaction with quiet strength, not neediness. And when she realizes you're not just another man trying to please her, but one who pleases himself by staying grounded, that's when her perspective changes. She doesn't fall for the man who says yes to everything. She falls for the man she cannot move, the one she must rise to meet. Because a woman doesn't want to carry the emotional weight of a man. She wants to trust that he can carry his own, and maybe when needed, hers too. Number 3, she won't admit it, but the uncertainty is what keeps her coming back. Most men believe women want peace, stability, and consistency. And while those things matter in the long game, they don't spark desire. What hooks her, what keeps her up at night wondering about you, is not knowing exactly where she stands. It's not because she's manipulative. It's because her emotional world is wired for stimulation. Predictability is safe, yes, but safe isn't seductive. Think about it. Would you keep watching a movie if you knew every scene before it played? Attraction works the same way. When you give her everything too soon, your attention, your feelings, your availability, you remove the space where desire breathes. She doesn't want to decode a man who's already solved himself. She wants to feel the pulse of mystery in every interaction. This is why the stoic man doesn't rush. He doesn't flood her with constant reassurance. He doesn't text back in seconds, revealing that she's his only focus. He's not cold, but he's not easy to read either. He leads, he listens, but he never gives his essence away for free. He creates emotional contrast, warm, then distant, engaged, then focused elsewhere. Not because he's playing games, but because he's living a full life. The modern man makes a fatal mistake. He over-communicates, over-explains, overextends. He tries to win her through emotional transparency, hoping his vulnerability will be enough. But vulnerability without tension is just exposure. And women don't chase what they've already captured. The stoic man understands the power of being just out of reach. He knows when to lean in and when to pull back, not from fear, but from control. He lets her wonder if she's earned his time, his focus, his affection. And in that wonder, attraction grows like fire in dry grass. Let her feel the sweet ache of uncertainty. Let her question what you feel, not out of cruelty, but because real connection is forged through tension, not comfort. She doesn't want a man who collapses into her. She wants a man who stands apart, who commands her attention without begging for it. When she's unsure, she thinks of you more. And when she thinks of you more, she feels more. And in the end, it's not logic that makes her fall. It's that thrill she can't explain, the one you sparked by being just out of reach. Number 4, imagine a man who never hesitates, who doesn't flinch when challenged, who leads not by force, but by certainty. That man has something most don't, an internal compass. In a world where people second-guess every move and seek constant approval, leadership has become a rare art. Yet women at their core are drawn to men who possess it. Not because they want to be controlled, but because they crave the steady presence of someone who knows where he's going. That magnetic pull of leadership is one of the deepest psychological triggers of attraction, and most men miss it completely. You see, many guys fall into the trap of being nice. They ask too often, "What do you want to do?" thinking they're being considerate. But what they're actually doing is giving away the reins. A woman doesn't dream of following a man who follows her. She dreams of a man who moves with intention, who makes decisions, who guides with clarity. A stoic man, calm in his choices, deliberate in his actions. He doesn't seek to dominate, he seeks to lead. This kind of leadership isn't loud. It doesn't bark orders. It shows up in small, everyday moments. Choosing a restaurant without hesitation, holding firm on his values when challenged, setting the tone for how he lives his life. A man like that radiates trust because his presence says, "I've got this." And when a woman feels that, truly feels it, something inside her relaxes. She feels safe. She feels desire. She feels drawn in. Stoicism teaches that leadership begins within, that before you can guide others, you must first rule yourself. Emotional discipline, clarity of vision, and unwavering purpose, these aren't just attractive traits. They're the foundation of lasting respect. And respect, more than charm or looks, is what keeps a woman by your side. So don't follow to be liked. Lead because it's who you are. The moment you own your path without apology is the moment she starts looking at you not as an option, but as the one she doesn't want to lose. Number 5, picture this. A man who walks with quiet confidence, who smiles not because he needs approval, but because he's grounded in who he is. He's not chasing. He's not desperate. His world is already full, purposeful, vibrant, complete. And when a woman meets him, she feels it instantly. He's not looking to be completed by her. He's inviting her into something greater, his mission, his life, his direction. This is the essence of the fifth and final weakness most men overlook. Women are deeply attracted to men who don't need them. This doesn't mean being cold or dismissive. In fact, it's the opposite. A man who doesn't need her is the one who can truly choose her. And that, paradoxically, is what makes a woman want to choose him back, over and over again. When you place a woman at the center of your universe too early, something subtle but irreversible begins to shift. Your purpose becomes her. Your actions orbit around her. And instead of feeling cherished, she feels pressure. She begins to sense that your happiness depends on her choices, her moods, her presence, and that's a weight no one wants to carry. But the man who has a mission, a vision that excites him with or without her, he becomes magnetic. His time has value. His goals keep him focused. His energy doesn't scream, "Please choose me." It quietly states, "I'm already full." But you're welcome to join. This stoic independence is not about arrogance. It's about centeredness. It's the kind of strength that doesn't seek completion in another person because it already exists within. Stoicism teaches us to be rooted in our purpose, not swayed by external approval, to lead ourselves first, to be emotionally self-sufficient. And in doing so, we become more attractive, not by trying harder, but by needing less. The truth is, women don't want to complete you. They want to admire you. They want to be inspired by your direction, moved by your depth, drawn into your gravity. So live a life so full, so rich with vision and intention, that a woman feels lucky just to be part of it. Not because you chased her, but because you were already going somewhere worth following. And that, my friend, is what makes her stay. In a world filled with noise, expectations, and shifting values, it's easy to believe that connection, especially romantic connection, relies on charm, wealth, or appearances. But as we've uncovered, true attraction runs deeper. It isn't rooted in surface-level tactics, but in something far more timeless: presence, boundaries, purpose, and inner calm. These are qualities that don't fade with age or trend. They grow stronger through experience. The greatest lesson here isn't about winning over women. It's about becoming a man who no longer needs to chase approval because he already walks in alignment with who he is. Women respond to certainty, leadership, mystery, and emotional depth, not because these traits are manipulative, but because they are rare in today's world. And they signal something profound: a man who knows his value and doesn't compromise it. For older men, those who have lived through seasons of love, loss, career, and change, this message resonates deeply. You've seen what happens when a man bends too much, gives too much, or loses himself for someone else. The Stoic way reminds us, the more you anchor yourself in principle, the more others will respect your presence. Not because you demand it, but because you embody it. Relationships are not about control. They're about energy. The energy of a man who leads himself first, who sets boundaries, who keeps his focus on what matters most. And when that man shows up, calm and centered, others naturally follow, not out of fear, but out of admiration. So wherever you are in life, single, married, widowed, or rediscovering yourself, remember, it's never too late to return to your core, to reclaim your dignity, to become the kind of man who doesn't just attract love, but commands deep respect. That is the essence of Stoicism, and that is the man the world and she will never forget.